Emma Harrison had no idea her life would completely change when she opened the door to her law office early that morning. Ocean City's ocean breeze carried the scent of salt and seagull cries into her small downtown office. At 28, having graduated law school with honors, she was struggling with the challenges of starting her own practice. While making coffee, she heard a soft knock at the door. The mailman had come early. A thick envelope slipped under the door caught Emma's attention. Urgent, Samuel Turner Estate was written on the envelope. Inside were documents that surprised Emma. Samuel Turner was one of Ocean City's oldest fishermen who died in a boat accident last month. Emma knew the old man. As a child, when playing by the shore with her grandfather, she'd seen Samuel's boat returning to harbor. Reviewing the inheritance documents, Emma frowned. Samuel had never married, had no children. But according to the documents, he left his inheritance to someone brave enough to find the truth that will change Ocean City's future. And he had designated Emma Harrison as that person. Strange, Emma murmured. She had only seen Samuel, never spoken to him. Why had he chosen her? That afternoon, she took the coastal road to visit Samuel's house. The house was tucked between rocks at the north end of Ocean City, a small wooden structure with blue paint faded from years of sea air. The key to the door was among the documents. When Emma opened the door, she smelled old books, seaweed, and slight dampness. The house was simple, a small living room, kitchen, bedroom, and a study. When Emma entered the study, she gasped. The walls were covered with nautical maps, old photographs, and various documents. On the desk sat a thick leather-bound journal. Opening the journal, she saw notes written in Samuel's handwriting. Whoever reads these lines, it may already be too late. The truth lying beneath Ocean City has been hidden for years. But now the time has come. The map is in the closet, the letter in the drawer. Emma Harrison, I hope you prove brave. Emma's heart raced. Was this some kind of treasure hunt? Or the result of the old fisherman's mental confusion? Opening the closet, she found a carefully folded old map. Spreading the map on the desk, she saw it was a detailed diagram of Ocean City. But this wasn't a normal map. Under the city, red pencil-drawn tunnels and rooms existed. Some places were marked with X. In the drawer was a letter written in Samuel's handwriting. Dear Emma, I don't know you, but I've heard much about you. I know you're a fair, brave, and honest lawyer. That's why I entrust this secret to you. Since Ocean City's founding in 1847, there's been a secret tunnel network beneath the city. These tunnels were initially built for protection against Native American attacks. But over time, they began being used for other purposes. In the 1920s, during Prohibition, these tunnels were used for alcohol smuggling. But the real problem starts now. For the past 20 years, these tunnels have been used for illegal activities. Drug smuggling, money laundering, even human trafficking. And behind all of this are some of the city's most respected names. The places I marked on the map show tunnel entrances. The safest is behind the rock formation by the shore. Start there. But be careful, Emma, these people are dangerous. The evidence is in the depths of the tunnels. I'm too old and scared, but you're young and brave. Please expose the truth. Don't mention this to anyone you trust. We don't know how deep this network extends. Be careful, Samuel Turner. P.S. Use the lighthouse to solve the cipher. Emma's hands began trembling as she read the letter. Was this real or an old fisherman's fantasies? But Samuel's detailed writing, the map's precision, and especially his choosing her. Emma examined the map again. The mark by the shore pointed to rock formations about half a mile south of Ocean City Lighthouse. She knew that area. She often played there as a child. Emma made her decision. She would at least check the location by the shore. If there really was a tunnel entry, then Samuel's words should be taken seriously. As evening came, Emma put on sports clothes and took a powerful flashlight. She put the map in her bag and left Samuel's house. Walking towards the shore, ocean waves were crashing against the rocks. The sky was draped in orange and pink colors. When she reached the marked location, at first glance she saw nothing, just normal rock formations and seaweed. But she remembered Samuel's clue in the letter. Use the lighthouse. She looked at the lighthouse. The light illuminated a specific point on the rocks. When Emma approached that point, she noted a narrow crack between the rocks. The crack was just wide enough for a person to barely fit through. She turned on her flashlight and looked inside the crack. About 3 meters in, the crack widened into a small cave. Emma took a deep breath and decided to go inside. Getting through the rocks was difficult. Her clothes tore, her hands got scratched. But finally she reached the cave. The cave was bigger than she thought. And most surprising, there was a wooden door on the back wall of the cellar. The door looked old, but was still solid. When Emma approached, she saw nautical symbols and dates carved on the door. The oldest date shown 1847, Ocean City's founding year. The door handle could be turned. Emma gathered her courage and opened the door. Cool air came from inside. When she illuminated with her flashlight, she saw a long, narrow tunnel. Stepping into the tunnel, she noted her footsteps echoing. This really was part of a tunnel network. Emma continued forward. After about 100 meters, the tunnel turned right. After the turn, the tunnel widened further and opened into a room. The room was much larger than Emma expected. The ceiling was high, walls covered with thick stones. But what was really surprising were the items inside the room. Old wooden chests, metal bars, and an antique table in the corner. On the table were papers, maps, and old photographs. When Emma approached the table, she made the photographs were from the 1920s. The photographs shown Ocean City residents, fishermen, and merchants of that era. But one photograph particularly caught Emma's attention. In the photograph was Charles Stone, grandfather of current Mayor Richard Stone. On the back of the photograph was written Ocean City Business Cooperation -1923. Emma began examining other documents. These were detailed records of alcohol smuggling operations from the 1920s, incoming and outgoing goods, profits, snippets, and most importantly, the names of city officials who participated in these operations. Charles Stone was just the beginning. The list included the mayor, police chief, and many respected businessmen of that era. Most of Ocean City's founders were actually part of the smuggling network. Cole Samuel was right. All documents were just history. What really mattered was what was happening now. Emma began searching the room more carefully. Behind the barrels in the corner, she found more recent documents. These documents stored from the 1990s to the present. Emma was shocked. It was as Samuel said, the tunnel network was still being used for illegal activities today. Among the documents were bank statements, drug shipment lists, and shockingly, human trafficking records. And behind all of this were important names from Ocean City's current ruling class. Mayor Richard Stone, Police Chief Michael Torres, Port Operator David Webb, and even Judge Patricia Mills were mentioned in the documents. They were all part of this illegal network. Emma's hand trembled as she took out her phone and began photographing the documents. This evidence could change Ocean City's entire power balance. But it was also very dangerous. She understood why Samuel was so scared. After taking the photographs, Emma headed towards the room's exit. But as she was about to enter the tunnel, she heard footsteps from far away. Someone was coming through the tunnel. Emma panicked. She quickly scanned the room for a place to hide. Behind the old chests seen safest, she hurriedly turned off her flashlight and crouched behind the chests. The footsteps were approaching. She could tell there were two people. They were talking, but she couldn't make out their voices clearly. When they entered the room, powerful flashlight beams illuminated the room. "Why did we have to come here tonight?" asked the first voice. Emma found the voice familiar, but couldn't identify why it was. "After Samuel's death, we needed to check some things," replied the second voice. This voice was deeper and more authoritative. The old man knew too much. If he left a note somewhere double quotes, I don't think anyone will come here, said the first voice. The entrance is so hidden. Samuel was very smart and very curious. He was researching our business too much lately. Good thing that accident happened. Emma's blood froze. Accident? Wasn't Samuel's death an accident? Boss, do you think it was really an accident? Asked the first voice. The second voice laughed harshly. Of course not. Samuel was starting to learn too much. Before he went to the police, we had to stop him. Cutting the brake cable on his boat was very easy. Emma covered her mouth with her hand. Samuel had been murdered, and these people were killers. What do we do now? Asked the first voice. We'll continue our operation. There's a big shipment next week. Everything will go as planned. Samuel's death won't slow our business. What about the inheritance matter? I heard he left his house to someone, that young lawyer. Emma Harrison, he only left the house and don't think she knows anything important. But we'll still watch her. Emma's heart was beating so fast she was afraid they'd hear it. They were talking about her, and this wasn't a good sign. Let's check the documents, said the second voice. Emma heard the two men moving around the table. They were dealing with documents. After a while, one spoke. Everything seems to be in place. No one has entered here. Emma breathed a sigh of relief. Apparently, they hadn't noted she had photographed the documents. Let's go then, said the second voice. We have a meeting tomorrow. Stone and the others want to learn the latest situation. The two men left the room. Emma waited for their footsteps to disappear in the tunnel. Then she carefully emerged from behind the chests. Her hands were still shaking. Samuel had really been killed. And this network was much more dangerous than she thought. Not just drug smuggling, they also committed murder. Emma hurriedly left the room. Getting back through the tunnel felt like forever. When she emerged from between the rocks, night had already fallen. No one was on the shore. She ran to her car and quickly went home. At home, Emma uploaded the document photographs to her computer. The evidence was very clear, but she was undecided about what to do. If she went to the police, what would happen? Police Chief Michael Torres was also part of the network. Should she go to the FBI, but should she reveal it to the media? Each option carried its own risks. Emma reread Samuel's journal. The old fisherman had warned, don't mention this to anyone you trust. But who could Emma trust? She didn't know how deep the network extended. She couldn't sleep all night. She constantly looked out the window, checking if anyone was watching the house. Samuel's killers might now be after her. When morning came, Emma had made a decision. First, she would do more research. She would gather information about the other names mentioned in the documents. And then she would find a way to safely get this information to the authorities. But first, she needed to check the other tunnel entrances Samuel had mentioned. Maybe she could find more evidence. Emma tried to deal with her normal work at the office that day. But her mind was constantly on what she had experienced last night. In the afternoon, while meeting with a client, her door was knocked. When she opened the door, a middle-aged man in a police uniform was standing there. Emma's heart tightened. Emma Harrison? Asked the police officer. Yes, that's me, Commissioner Harris. I have a few questions about Samuel Turner's inheritance. May I come in? Emma had no choice. Sure, come in. Commissioner Harris entered Emma's office and sat down. He had a serious expression. Ms. Harrison, you know we're aware of the inheritance Samuel Turner left you. He left you his house and its contents. Yes, that's correct. Did you visit the house? Emma hesitated for a moment. Should she lie? Yes, I went yesterday. To handle the inheritance procedures, did you find anything there? Something special that Samuel left you? Emma's mouth died. How much did the police know? Just old things, books, and such. I didn't see anything special. Commissioner Harris looked at her carefully. Are you sure? Samuel had become a bit paranoid lately. He constantly talked about conspiracy theories. He might have left you something like that. No, there was nothing like that. The commissioner stood up. Okay, but if you find anything, especially documents supporting Samuel's theories about the city, please call us. These kinds of things can unnecessarily worry the public. After the commissioner left, Emma's hand began trembling. The message was very clear. The police knew what Samuel had left. And they were warning Emma that evening when Emma returned to her apartment, she noted her door was slightly ajar. She had definitely locked the door. Someone had entered her home. Emma carefully went inside. The house was turned upside down. Drawers opened, books scattered on the floor, couch cushions lifted. Someone was looking for something. When she went to the bedroom, the situation was even worse. Her closet was ransacked, bed messed up, but most shocking was the note left on her pillow, Curious Cat's Diary. If you don't want to share Samuel's fate, forget what you saw. Emma's knees trembled as she read the note. This wasn't a joke anymore. Her life was really in danger. She immediately packed her suitcase and left the house. It would be safer to stay in a hotel. But first, she needed to put Samuel's documents in a safe place. Emma rented one of the security deposit boxes outside the city and put copies of the documents there. She hid the originals in a different place. If something happened to her, at least the evidence wouldn't be lost. In the hotel room, Emma began researching on the internet. She checked the names mentioned in the documents one by one. Richard Stone, Michael Torres, David Webb, Patricia Mills. They were all Ocean City's most powerful people. Richard Stone had been mayor for 3 terms. His family was one of Ocean City's founding families. Michael Torres had been police chief for 10 years. David Webb was the city's largest port operator. Patricia Mills was a regional judge. These people ran Ocean City. And they were all part of an illegal network. Emma examined Samuel's map again. There were other tunnel entrances too. Maybe she could find more evidence, but the danger was too great. That night, Emma peeked through the room's curtain outside. A black car was parked on the street. There were 2 people inside, and they were looking at the hotel where Emma was staying. She was being followed. Emma couldn't sleep. She constantly listened for sounds at the door. She was afraid someone would try to enter the room at any moment. She stayed awake until morning. When morning came, Emma had made a decision. She had to leave Ocean City, at least for now. She needed time to safely get this evidence to the authorities. But first, she would investigate Samuel's last clue. In the documents, it was written that the network was planning a big operation. Big shipment next week. They had said Emma decided to find the tunnel entry into the port area. Maybe she could learn more about the operation. According to Samuel's map, the tunnel entry was behind the old fish processing plant. The plant had been closed for years and looked abandoned. Emma walked around the plant. At the back, facing the sea, she found a half-buried door. The door was locked but old and rusty. With a little force, it opened. Behind the door, narrow stairs went down. Emma went down the stairs, illuminating with her flashlight. Below, there was a corridor similar to the tunnel by the shore. This tunnel was wide and better maintained. The walls had mold insulation. Obviously, it was still being actively used. Emma proceeded through the tunnel. After about 200 meters, the tunnel opened into a large warehouse. The warehouse was much bigger and more modern than she expected. Inside were forklifts, truck ramps, and hundreds of crates. The crates had various labels. Canned fish, seafood, cold storage, innocent-looking labels. But when Emma opened one of the crates, what came out wasn't canned fish. There were white packages wrapped in plastic. Emma realized these were drugs, probably cocaine or heroin. She checked other crates too. They were all the same. Hundreds of kilograms of drugs were hidden inside fish canning crates. Emma began taking photos of the crates with her phone. This evidence showed how big the network was. They weren't just distributing drugs to Ocean City, but likely to the entire region. At the other end of the warehouse was an office. As Emma approached the office, she heard a voice from inside. Someone was talking on the phone. Emma quickly hid behind the crates. Yes, everything is ready. The shipping will go out tomorrow night. Ships will be at the port at 6 a.m. After the goods are loaded, they'll go to Boston. Emma tried to recognize the voice. It sounded familiar, but she couldn't be sure. There won't be police control, the voice continued. Torres arranged everything. Coast Guard won't patrol at these hours either. Emma listened carefully. The big shipment was tomorrow night, and Police Chief Torres was ensuring the operation's security. Did we solve the Emma Harrison matter too? Asked the voice on the phone. Emma's blood rose. They were talking about her. Not yet, but soon. The girl is too curious. She might have found what Samuel left. We need to silence her. The word silence remembered Emma of Samuel's fate in her mind. They were going to kill her too. The phone conversation ended. Emma waited for the man to leave the office. After the footsteps moved away, Emma entered the office. The office was small but well organized. On the wall was a large Ocean City map, on the desk a computer and phone. But what caught Emma's attention was the file on the desk. Opening the file, she saw the network's complete organizational chart. Varsalin at the top, it said Board of Directors, and below were familiar names: Richard Stone, Mayor, Political Protection, Michael Torres, Police Chief, Security, David Webb, Port Operator, Logistics, Patricia Mills, Judge, Legal Protection, Dr. Anthony Reed, Hospital Chief, Medical Support. Emma was surprised. She knew Dr. Reed, too. He was a respected doctor and also her family's doctor. Other pages of the file contained operation details: drug ships, money laundering operations, and a section that horrified Emma: human trafficking. The network was bringing illegal workers from South America. They forced these people to work, took their passports, and practiced modern slavery. They were forced to work in Ocean City's fish processing plants, construction sites, and cleaning companies. Emma photographed the file. Now she had tremendous evidence. But she was also facing a much bigger danger. As she prepared to leave the office, she heard motor sounds from far away. Someone was coming to the warehouse. Emma quickly hid behind the crates. Two people entered the warehouse. From their voices, she recognized them. These were the men she had seen in the tunnel last night. Everything will be ready tomorrow night, said the first one. Ships will arrive on time. After the goods are loaded, Torres' men will clean the shore. We need to solve the Emma Harrison matter, said the second. She might know too much. What did Stone say? He told you to silence her, but it must be a clean job. It should look like an accident. Emma's breath caught. They were really planning to kill her. How will we do it? Brake failure in her car. It worked with Samuel. When? Tonight, the girl is staying at a hotel. When she gets in her car in the morning, ... double quotes, Emma didn't want to hear more. She began looking for a way to quickly get out of the warehouse. But the two men were still talking, and the exit was near them. Emma checked the other end of the warehouse. Maybe there was another exit, she thought. And indeed, she found a small door on the back wall of the warehouse. The door seemed to be used as an emergency exit. When she opened the door, there were narrow stairs directly to the port. Emma carefully went up the stairs and found herself at the port's edge. Now she knew what to do. Tonight they were going to do something to her car. She couldn't go to the police because the police chief was part of the network. But she had other options. Emma returned to the hotel, but didn't use her car. Instead, she called a taxi. When she got to her room, she immediately opened her computer and prepared all the evidence she had gathered to send to the FBI. But the FBI alone wouldn't be enough. She also needed to leak it to the media. Emma called a journalist friend in Boston. Sarah, this is Emma Harrison. I have a very big story for you. But it's very dangerous. Tell me what it is, Sarah said excitedly. Emma summarized what she had experienced since Samuel's death. Sarah listened in amazement. Can you send me this evidence? Sarah asked. I'm sending it, but be careful. These people don't hesitate to commit murder. After Emma fills the files to Sarah, she also fills the same information to the FBI. Now all she could do was wait. That night, Emma stayed at the hotel, but didn't even go near her car. Early in the morning, she looked out the window and saw a man working around her car. The man was doing something under the car. As Emma guessed, they were sabotaging her brakes. In the afternoon, Emma's phone rang. The caller was Sarah. Emma, you did an amazing job. The FBI has already taken action. Also, the story will be in tomorrow's newspaper. Really? Yes, and I have even better news for you. Special Agent Carter from the FBI called you. He wants to meet with you. Tonight at 7 at the cafe in Marina. Emma breathed a sigh of relief. Finally, help was coming. That evening, Emma waited at the cafe. Right on time, a middle-aged man in a suite approached her table. Emma Harrison, I'm Special Agent Carter. I'm so happy. Now I can leave this job to professionals. Agent Carter sat down. You did an excellent job. But you're not safe yet. When the network learns you're alive, they might become even more aggressive. What should I do? You say there's going to be a big shipment tonight. We'll catch the operation red-handed. You'll also be a witness. Won't it be dangerous? You'll be under protection, and this way we'll catch the entire network. Emma agreed. She was determined to see this through to the end. That night at 11, Emma went to the port with FBI agents. They had secretly surrounded the warehouse. About 20 agents had taken position to catch the network's operation. After midnight, the first truck came to the port. Then the second, third, there were 5 trucks and 3 ships in total. Emma was watching with binoculars. Crates were being unloaded from trucks, loaded onto ships. And right at the head of the operation stood David Webb himself. At 2 o'clock, Police Chief Torres also came. With several police officers, he secured the area. Of course, their real purpose was to protect the operation. Are you ready? Agent Carter asked over radio. Ready, Emma replied. Operation starting. 3, 2, 1, now. Suddenly the port lit up brightly. FBI agents emerged from everywhere. FBI, put your hands up. Chaos began. Network members tried to escape, but everywhere was surrounded. David Webb was caught. Police Chief Torres was caught while trying to escape in panic. When the crates on the ships were opened, the drugs Emma had found came out. Also, 15 illegal workers hidden in terrible conditions were found in the ship's hold. The operation was a complete success. By morning, Mayor Richard Stone, Judge Patricia Mills, and Dr. Anthony Reed were also taken into custody from their homes by the FBI. The entire network had collapsed. Emma gave her statement at FBI headquarters. She detailed everything she had experienced. Samuel's murder, evidence in the tunnels, discoveries from the warehouse. You acted very bravely, said Agent Carter. You showed behavior worthy of Samuel Turner's memory. Samuel was killed for learning the truth. At least we achieved justice. In the afternoon, Emma returned to her hotel room. She was safe now. The network's leaders were arrested. Their operations collapsed. Ocean City was finally being cleaned, but for Emma, the real reward was clearing Samuel Turner's memory. The old fisherman had fought for the truth until his last breath. And Emma had followed through on the legacy he left to the end. On the evening news, the big operation in Ocean City became news across the country. Stories headlined Big Network collapsed in small town also told of Emma's brave investigation. But what mattered most to Emma was that Ocean City was now truly a clean town, just as Samuel had dreamed. A week later, Emma visited Samuel's grave. She left flowers on the gravestone. I did what I promised, Samuel, she whispered. The truth came out. The wind caressed her hair as if Samuel's spirit was answering. As Emma left the cemetery, the phone in her pocket rang. The caller was from an unknown number. Emma Harrison? Yes, my name is Margaret Foster. I'm calling from Annapolis. I want to offer you a very important inheritance case. But this job is very secret and could be dangerous. Emma smiled. A new adventure was beginning. I understand, Ms. Foster. I'm an expert in dangerous cases. And so Emma Harrison's first big case had ended. But Ocean City's secrets weren't completely exhausted yet. On the map Samuel left, there were still unexplored tunnels and rooms. Emma knew this was just the beginning. More mysteries awaited her in Ocean City's depths. And she was ready to challenge each one, because she was no longer just a lawyer, she was Ocean City's true protector. The end. Emma Harrison's adventures begin with the inheritance mystery. In the next episode, Emma will face a new danger with a mysterious invitation from Annapolis. Ocean City's secrets aren't fully solved yet.